to me.
Information, news, and entertainment on demand.
WSRadio.com.
Welcome to The Changing Stage, music gear talk from the manufacturers and musicians who define the biz. Here's your host, Florentino Buenaventura.
Are you ready to rumble? I always feel like we get that with my intro there. Of course, we kind of designed it that way. This is Florentino Buenaventura on The Changing Stage, powered by the mighty WS Radio Networks, the worldwide leader in internet talk radio. And we are brought to you by some great sponsors. First off, Pitbull Audio at pitbullaudio.com. These guys are just awesome when it comes down to giving you the right gear and giving you at the right prices. That's what they are all about. They do have a store down in National City. Look them up at pitbullaudio.com, or you can just shop online. They're one of the top stores for shopping online. And then, of course, SIR, who's going to be helping to sponsor this event that we have for the Crohn's and Colitis Foundation. That's going to be happening tonight in San Diego over at Tio Leo's. So if you're listening and you're in San Diego, make sure you come out. If you're anywhere else in the world, just get on a plane. Come out and check out the show. Curbside Vinyl, Bumpin' Brass, and, of course, the Joe Luna Band will be out there. And it's going to be a great time, and we're going to be out there supporting a great cause. And, there's always great things. And then we've got a new sponsor, Stars Align, which is starsalign.com. These folks are really doing some amazing things with helping the youth internalize music, helping them to grow in the business, not just from a creative side, but also from helping them from a business side as well. And they've got a big concert coming up in July, so make sure you catch that as well. And, like we always do, we have these incredibly talented guests. And today is a special one because we've got a hometown boy with us here, Kevin Flournoy. Hey, Kevin, how you doing, brother?
Hey, how you doing?
So Kevin is like, the producer of producers here in town. This man has worked with, we'd take the whole show if we actually talked about all the people that you've worked with. But, Dionne Warwick, Shaka Khan, you were roommates with Jamie Foxx. It's just right. This laundry list of all these great artists. You just got off tour with the Yellow Jackets.
Well, the bass player
from Yellow Jackets. So, Kevin, we always like when you're the first time on the show, we want to kind of get to know you, your how you got your start. We were talking in the breaks, and you had a great stories. Like, you got to save this stuff, man.
Reiterate those stories.
Yeah, exactly. So, what sparked that passion to get into music?
In terms of the music, my dad, he was in the Marine Corps. So
okay.
He actually played trombone.
Wow.
And so at a very young age, the story is I was about, let's say 6, 7 years old. And my dad, there was 3 of us, my older sister, my younger brother. He took us to a music store, and he said, pick something, and you're going to be playing. It was kind of like that,
There's no choice. You got a choice of the instruments.
Yeah, you get to choose the instruments, but you were going to practice every day. It was like an hour a day. It was the worst thing ever.
Joe Jackson? We had Joe Jackson.
It wasn't that. It was kind of, it was nice. We just had to do it.
Yeah.
And so, of course, I liked the fact that I did that back then.
Yeah.
So I learned how to read music very early.
Oh, that's
the interesting thing, I picked the guitar, and my sister picked the organ, and my younger brother picked the drums.
Of course he did.
And so my sister would, play, had the organ, and I was playing the guitar. Yeah. I played folk guitar like 2 years. I was trained folk guitar. And
what was the first song, man? What was the first
song? I don't know what the first song was, but I know one I used to play when I got my electric guitar. It was a miniature one. Was Raindrops Keep Falling on My Head.
Oh, dude, that was my favorite song when I was a little
wear
kid.
that out.
Yeah, Raindrops Keep Falling on My Head.
That's it. I play that song on
B.J. Thomas,
guitar.
Man. I remember it all.
And that was back in them days where you had those funky costumes like the Jacksons.
Oh,
yeah. So I had the costume to fit the guitar. I'll show you the pictures later. Just you, though.
we had to sneak those online.
Those are some, So I, after a couple of years on the guitar, I kind of like, I would sit on the organ. That's basically what it was. My sister had the organ. And I said, I like this. And I would just play that, without having to rehearse it or not, without outside the context of that time of I had to practice. And so I sat there. Eventually, I just kind of started taking organ lessons. And organ was my thing, not piano. So I took lessons of organ, did concerts. I was nine.
What kind of organ was it? Was it?
It was Hammond.
Hammond. All right.
Yeah, so I still got that was my
Did it have the beats, pre-programmed beats and everything?
Had all that. Yeah, had all that.
Did you get raised in a Filipino household? 'Cause that's how we are in Filipino households.
Yeah. You know all about that, huh?
Yeah, I do.
When the pedals,
we had a
the
Lowry.
beat,
We had a Lowry. We couldn't.
I know about the Lowry.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah. Yeah.
And so, but that was my beginnings there. The interesting thing about the organ is that I learned in terms of my songwriting, with your left hand, you're usually playing chords.
Yeah.
So I learned chords early.
Yeah.
Then the lead line, and then with your feet, you're playing the bass patterns.
See, people don't understand. You could do that back in the. I don't know what happened to the foot bass stuff. That put me out of it. I'm a bass player now, but
yeah, it's still.
Don't tell him. He'll retire me right now. He wants to get rid of me already.
It still happens, And I used to listen to Jimmy Smith was the organist that I listened to, and but there's a lot of classical, pop, and I studied pop music as opposed to when you're on the piano. Usually you go into classical.
Yeah.
I took piano lessons, but it was later on, and I did classical music. But with the organ, I was learning pop music, which is what I'm doing now. But at an early age, and it helps you with your songwriting because you understand how the bass coordinates with the chords. Then I started writing at an early age because of that. But reading, and I learned how to read early, so that was good too.
That's awesome. So you got this experience. You have a family of players. Did you guys have a family band?
Yes, we did.
The Flournoys?
We used to go to the old folks' home, and it was like
cool.
the Partridge Family type of deal.
Did you all have a little,
We
little
did
bus
that. We did that.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I got pictures of that too.
Oh snap! Folks, if I can snag him, I'm gonna get you all some pictures of this stuff. So you did all that as a kid, and then obviously you kind of growing up here. When did you say this is it? What was that moment that defined this was going to be a career?
It started when I decided to play the organ because it was more about a passion at that point.
Yeah.
It wasn't that, okay, I got to rehearse this guitar, and the guitar was a little difficult to me. It was cool, but it was kind of difficult. The organ, the keyboards was natural, and I liked doing it. And so I had the passion, and I liked it. I started taking classical as a teenager. I told you at the high school. When I was in high school.
Mira Mesa High.
That's right.
If you're listening, we got an alumni from your old high school.
Yeah, that's right. And I started a band there. Everything. I had the band.
Oh man!
And it wasn't just a band. Back in them days, it was about a show. So I had dances. I had
you had
a DJ guy. I had all of it.
Wow.
Yeah, all of a group of 3 or 4 singers. I had a little side horn section. It was a bigger deal back then. And we used to play in the garage. After school every day.
You can get away with it back in the day.
Yeah, and so during that process, I was doing it every day, so it was obviously a passion at that point. And I knew about 16, I used to think about, I want to produce. I remember thinking that. I want to produce, write, and I was writing songs back then. So during lunchtime, I would play the piano in the band room, and the kids would come around. So, what's your new one? And I would play the new one. I always had to get somebody to sing the stuff for me. I had a guy. And he would sing the songs for me. And so sometimes certain girls would do it for me. But I was known for writing.
Speaking of that, you did this for the women, right? Like a lot of us musicians.
Well, I noticed that they would come around a lot. I was back then. I used to listen to Lionel Richie and all those ballads. So I write ballads like that. And they would come around and love to hear that kind of thing in high school.
Yeah, that definitely would be the case. So now you jump start into this. You've had this. The big fish in the small pond. You jump into the big pond, which was L.A. How did that all work out? How did that come about?
Yeah, first it was the college experience, and then
that's true. Okay,
and then
UCSD.
Yeah, UCSD, and UCSD experience with my first dabbling into jazz.
Okay,
and so I was in. It was Professor Jimmy Cheatham there, and I was in the jazz band, the big band.
Now, was he Nathan's professor?
Yes, it was the same people.
I sort of met
Nathan
him
East,
at a thing with Nathan. Because Nathan's been
actually when I was 15. They got it back when they had affirmative action. Professor Jimmy Cheatham, the provost, which is the piano, Cecil Lytle, who I took piano from in college, came. I was 15 years old, and I remember them coming to my house, and they sat there. Both of them were at the house and said, "Play something." That's what they said, "Play something."
Put you on a spot.
I was like, okay. And usually, and musicians know when somebody says "play something," you don't know any song at that point.
Yeah, you're blank.
And so I played something on the piano, and then it was a program that Affirmative Action was a program where they would help you. Focus you in the direction of coming to the school, tell you what programs, and then help you when you got there. And so I studied with Cecil Lytle, piano, and I was in Jimmy Cheatham. Jimmy Cheatham was my instructor. Just Nathan Neese had come through. He was on his way out when I came in.
That's
that experience became all jazz. Oh, the other thing too, interesting thing. I just got this laminate that I dug up when I was about 16, and it's a Count Basie orchestra. So I met Count Basie when I was 15.
Count Basie.
Yeah. So he brought me backstage and had me sit with them because those guys are from New York.
Yeah. Awesome.
Jimmy Cheatham and stuff. So they would bring out Miles Davis to the school, some of the other composers, and we would sit with them, Max Roach and all that. That was that experience at UCSD.
Wow, that's crazy.
It was crazy. Yeah,
we don't get that nowadays. We got about 15 seconds left. Kevin, you got this great career. We're going to continue on. Make sure everybody you listen in. One quick thought. What was that? I'm getting tongue-tied here. I'm looking at the clock. Let's kind of wait for the clock to come up. We're going to come back to that thought here for a second. Okay. I was trying to think, is that thought going to go through? This has been The Changing Stage, and it is powered by the Mighty WS Radio Networks, brought to you by SIR Music Equipment Rental, who we thank for tonight, and pitbullaudio.com and Stars Align. Make sure you guys stay tuned because we're going to be back in a few short minutes with Kevin Flournoy and some great stories on production and keyboards.
Are you serious about your music? Are you ready to run with the big dogs? The experts at Pitbull Audio have the gear to get you into the game. From leading manufacturers like Mesa Boogie, Fender, Pioneer, and American Audio. To sound your best, you need the best. Pitbull Audio can deliver in rehearsal, on stage, and into the big time. Dropping beats, shredding guitar, or making the crowd roar. Whatever you dream, Pitbull Audio can help make it happen. We are Pitbull Audio. We want you to play it loud. PitbullAudio.com.
Thank you for listening to WS Radio. Improve your business and your life with useful information from experts and thought leaders. WS Radio is radio with ROI.
You may have heard me brag about Progressive Medical Center and just how much they've helped me with my health. And Dr. Goley, one thing that you've helped so many people with is migraines.
Unfortunately, there are millions and millions of Americans who are suffering with migraines and headaches, and they're debilitating because it affects the quality of their life, and they cannot function properly. At Progressive, we get to the root cause because we understand that migraines could be caused by nutritional deficiencies, hormonal imbalances, believe it or not, delayed food sensitivities. And once we determine what the real reason is, we put a plan of action together with medication that we get them off slowly, and we put them on an all-natural approach, and the results are amazing.
Incredible. I mean, there's so many people that can say they don't live their lives with migraines anymore thanks to Progressive Medical Center.
And that's what's exciting and rewarding to us as physicians because we help our patients take control of their health, and that's why they're living well.
Why don't you get a hold of Progressive Medical Center today? Don't live in pain. Don't have migraines anymore. Just go to their website, progressivemedicalcenter.com.
This is your life. Live it well.
In the military, things can change in an instant. At Navy Mutual Aid Association, we understand because it's our life too. That's why our dedication to serving the life insurance needs of our military veterans and their families is unrivaled. Navy Mutual offers superior life insurance protection without military service restrictions and limitations. A single focus on providing the peace of mind military families are looking for. That's what we do. Navy Mutual, insuring those who serve. Call 800-628-6011 or go to NavyMutual.org.
Hi, this is Rob Barnett, CEO and founder of VinVillage.com and the Wine and Dine Show on Vin Village Radio. Do you have a wine, event, product, or service to promote? Then contact VinVillage.com to reach thousands of wine lovers across the country. VinVillage connects like-minded wine enthusiasts with unique and exclusive wines, events, products, and services. To learn more, contact us on VinVillage.com. VinVillage is where wine lovers connect. Hi, this is Rob Barnett, VinVillage.com, where wine lovers connect. Be sure to tune in weekly to Vin Village Radio for exclusive in-depth interviews with the who's who in wine and food.
Talk to me.
Information, news, and entertainment on demand.
WSRadio.com.
Welcome to the Changing Stage, music gear talk from the manufacturers and musicians who define the biz. Here's your host, Florentino Buenaventura.
We are back with the Changing Stage Radio Show. This is the second segment, and it's powered by the mighty WS Radio Networks, the worldwide leader in Internet Talk Radio, and, of course, Pitbull Audio at pitbullaudio.com. Those guys are great. If you need gear, you get it from them. If you need rental gear, SIR, Music Equipment Rental, is pretty amazing. They're providing us the whole backline for this show that we're doing. That we're sponsoring over at Tio Leo's tonight, which is with Bump and Brass, Curbside Vinyl, which I happen to be a little, intimate with because I'm in that band playing bass. And then, of course, we've got the folks with Joe Luna's band that's going to be out there. And then the organization's going to be doing some raffles and other things. They're raising awareness, raising some good funds to help fight, tough diseases. And, Stars Align, which is our new sponsor, who amazing things that they're doing with the youth here in San Diego. They're doing some things down in South San Diego that are helping some youth that are not getting the music programs in school like we did, right, Kevin? We got music programs in school.
Oh, yeah.
They don't have that today.
No,
so Stars Align
no.
is helping to bridge that, and that's kind of one of the cool things about that organization. That's why we really have them as a part of this. And at some point, I have to turn you on to those guys because they could definitely use some mentoring. They're with some of the kids and stuff like that. Maybe do some return back to the community, which I know you do anyway. And then I was just about to ask you a question in the segment. I go, "Oh, this is going to open up too much. We're gonna." I was
right.
It's not a quick question, so I figured I'd save it for this piece. So you were out there. You got college. When was that? When did you get the call? When did you get the call to go to LA? And what was that? What was the gig?
Well, it was more of a calling than a call.
Oh, okay.
So what I mean by that is, toward the end of, I was 5 years at UCSD, and I minored in music. I didn't major in music.
Oh, okay.
So I majored in electrical engineering. Yeah, engineering.
I read my bio.
At the end, which is a gruesome experience. It was an intense experience. And so at the end, when I graduated, I did an internship at Teledyne Ryan Electronics here in San Diego.
Okay.
2 years during the summer. And so there was a advanced systems group, and they wanted to hire me. So I got a call, and then there was that call at the end, come work for us. Then was the other call, which was I had been doing some writing with a group of mine during college called Split Decision. Mm-hmm. And we got offered a deal, a promotional deal from RCA.
Okay.
And there was that call at the same time. So when I graduated, it was like, okay, which way are you going to go? You going to go work?
Record deal?
Are you going to go do this over here? And I thought about it for a while, and I moved to LA.
Yeah, that makes sense. The world would have been, we got enough engineers, man. The world would have been a little bit less without your music, brother. But it's funny. I think keyboard players have a tendency to be a little bit more analytical, so that makes sense. That's kind of why you're kind of drawn to that.
Yeah, when I was at the school, like the big band, the saxophone, everybody was engineering and math wizards in the band.
Yeah, wow.
It's the same side of the brain.
Yeah, right. It's awesome. That's awesome. Except for those guitar players, I swear.
I don't know what side of the brain.
We're completely mindless.
No brain, no side, no side. Huh?
Just zen. Just empty your head.
No, guitar players are pretty amazing. There's a lot of that too. This guy is Paul's a guitar player extraordinaire, and he definitely has the analytical side in it. He's always. I'm always wanting to do the cheat and go, let's just cut chords, man. Let's just go for the roots. He's like, no, we got to do this right. Yeah, we got to do it. If the chords are here, you got to do it. So it's pretty cool. But, so that's awesome. And how did, where did the band go from there? And
well, it was that group, and that's where I actually moved to LA with Jamie.
Okay, so that's right. So we got to backtrack a little bit.
Yeah.
You were living here, kicking it with somebody that's somewhat well known, right?
Yes.
Might have won an Academy Award.
His name wasn't even Jamie Foxx at the time.
Okay, so we're gonna have to pull Jamie Foxx's card right now. What was his original name?
Eric Bishop. So Eric.
Okay.
Yeah.
Eric, how did he get Jamie Foxx out
Well,
of that?
when you go to L.A., you gotta upgrade your situation, your presentation.
Well, I could have seen him change the last name, which is usually, but he just changed everything.
Oh, they do that. He changed everything. So as Eric, he was going to a university which is not there anymore. USIU, United States International. I don't know if you remember that Scripps Ranch.
I do not.
That's a long time.
I'm originally from Northern California.
Oh, okay. So he was doing drama theater there.
Okay.
Drama, and so we had hooked up a few times. He used to come over to the house in Mira Mesa and kind of hang out because he was interested. He would like to, in the songwriting.
Yeah.
He's an excellent songwriter.
Yeah.
And his playing was more from a gospel aspect,
Yeah.
which I was kind of interested because he was playing different types of chords than I was used to.
Uh-huh.
I was structured in the jazz and then, I said the pop and the classical. So that added to my repertoire. I used to watch him play.
That's why. So you guys kind of shared.
And then he was a singer too, so he can sing. He was singing my songs.
Okay.
And so I got demos of him. I mentioned when we moved to L.A., eventually we did get a record, a demo contract from Quincy Jones' company.
Yeah.
And we did about 5 or 6 songs, and he sang a couple of my songs, and I would produce his music. So for a long time, I would produce most everything he did.
Wow.
At the beginning stages when we were kind of younger. So
Yeah.
we have I have some very funny footage of that too.
Oh, folks, we got
pictures and footage. Now, we used to do a 2-man show. Jamie would do comedy. He would have me on stage because he liked to incorporate singing in his show.
Uh-huh.
So at a certain point, and he would play a little bit. And so we used to wear matching shirts, matching hats, and I got some pictures of that too.
That's
we were
awesome.
like 21, all very skinny, and
That
we
is
would do
awesome.
this show, and he would tell the jokes, and then we would crack into some jazz or whatever we would play, and it was just And then eventually, and that's why I decided to move to L.A., and he was going at the same time, and then we ended up being roommates. We moved on the outskirts of Koreatown.
Oh, wow.
And we had a little situation there, and that's when he started, doing his thing.
Yeah, he was Living Color and
He
everything.
started auditioning for
all these different ones.
Uh-huh.
Now, you got signed by Quincy. How was that, man? You're what, 21, you said?
Yeah.
And you're sitting there in front of one of the greatest, if not the greatest producer out, Definitely at the time, he's the greatest producer out. And, what were you thinking? What was going through your mind at that time?
Yeah, it was a great experience at the time. Sometimes you get involved from the day to day. You're trying to make it get in there, right?
Yeah.
But that's really a moment there. Getting signed. And what happened with that demo? So we got, they give you monies to. This is back when they used to give you money to develop.
Yeah.
And so we were in the studio developing these songs. And there's one particular song, "Why Not This Love," that I wrote that Jamie sang. I'll let you hear that sometime.
Yeah, I definitely. I got to go roll by the. I haven't been to the studio, man. I got to go by and check.
Oh
out
yes,
your stuff.
definitely. And that particular song was my first songwriting thing that got picked up by the company. They listened to it, and they actually wanted it for that movie, Boys in the Hood.
Oh wow!
But they wanted Luther Vandross to sing it.
Okay.
Sometimes they do that. You submit stuff
yeah.
to them, and they say, "Okay, you sound good on there, but we want."
Yeah, we want somebody else.
We're gonna do what we want to do with it.
Yeah.
And I got contracted and everything. That was great. That was my first thing.
That is awesome. So you're there making it happen.
Mm-hmm.
That it just so young and kind of getting into it. Like you said earlier, your list of people, and I was talking about earlier that it'd be crazy to actually list those. We could sit there. I'll just be naming names through the whole show for that hour. And when you did that. What was the music landscape like at that particular time? What were the keyboards like? Because we like to talk a little bit about gear. What were you using at that point?
Yeah. Before I moved to L.A., right before that experience, they started coming out with the keyboard digital workstations. That was the beginning of that in Sonic.
Yeah. Oh, you had it in
and
Sonic.
I had it, so it was the greatest thing for me because we were doing all kind of crazy stuff.
Was it TS16 or which one?
No, in Sonic SQ80, I think it was.
Oh, dude, you went SQ80.
That's when you had to hook up the tape recorder, the cassette deck to save it and everything, save the information. And so, but the best thing, so they had the 8 tracks on there, and I can layer the keyboard parts.
Yeah.
And that stuff would never work really well. But
No.
and it sound. I have some tapes of that back then, and the recordings are really weird sounding, but It was great back then. So that's how I started in terms of, before you got the computer and Performer and, Pro Tools. That was it right there.
Yeah.
And
sequencers, that was crazy.
Yeah, sequencers. That was the beginning.
Yeah.
My first keyboard sequencer. Of course, before then I had the Rhodes, and I had the Hammond. So that was the standard. And then it started morphing into that, all the electronic keyboards like that. Yeah. So when I moved to what did I buy then? There was of course I had the Yamaha. I've always had Yamaha. So from
You're
because of the sounds,
Yeah.
the DX7, back in the day.
That was definitely for R&B and pop. DX7 was
that was it.
That Rhodes, their electric piano sound, because it wasn't really Rhodes, but that electric piano sound was on everything.
And basically, when you do, like now, I know there's other keyboards with the Nords and stuff that they're using, but the when I'm working with the R&B artists from the past, is basically the stage, especially when you notice on festivals, they're still using the motif.
Yeah.
And that's just the standard.
Yeah. That is.
For a while, there used to be the Kurzweil, the PC-88. I don't know if you remember. I have one of those too.
We actually had one for a while there ourselves.
You would see that on stage for a while, but now it's the motif. So I bought it when it first came out. I got the first one, and I got the last, the X series, XF series, and I bought the first one. But that's kind of what I use when I get a writer and they want me to tell them what keyboards I want on stage.
Yeah.
That's always going to be on there.
That is awesome. Well, we are going to be going to a commercial break again. We've been talking with Kevin Flournoy, who is fun stuff. I got some good questions. I want to ask more right now, but we got to wait till the commercial break. Got to pay the bills. I want to say thanks to those folks that are doing that for us. SAR Music Equipment Rental. They're helping us out with some gear for tonight at the Crohn's and Colitis Foundation. And we also have pitbullaudio.com and Stars Align. This has been Florentino on the Changing Stage. Stay tuned because we are powered by the mighty WS radio networks, and we'll be right back in a few short minutes.
Are you serious about your music? Are you ready to run with the big dogs? The experts at Pitbull Audio have the gear to get you into the game. From leading manufacturers like Mesa Boogie, Fender, Pioneer, and American Audio. To sound your best, you need the best. Pitbull Audio can deliver in rehearsal, on stage, and into the big time. Dropping beats, shredding guitar, or making the crowd roar. Whatever you dream, Pitbull Audio can help make it happen. We are Pitbull Audio. We want you to play it loud. PitbullAudio.com.
On the internet, your business's reputation can be unjustly destroyed in an instant. Don't wait for that to happen. Building and marketing your 5-star reputation can increase your business by as much as 19%. Take control of your reputation and have the 5-star reputation you deserve with Reputation Marketing Solutions by DSI Development. Become the go-to company by visiting 5starrepmarketing.com. The number 5starrepmarketing.com.
Has your business been appified? Are you tired of doing marketing that doesn't deliver results? Mobile apps build loyalty and quality retention. Your app from UPG Mobile puts your business on their mind and at their fingertips. UPG Mobile will give you a custom app highlighting how you are unique, targeting your message, and improving your open rates. Appify your business and amplify your presence with your customers at upgmobilemarketinggroup.com.
You've heard me bragging about Progressive Medical Center and how they've helped me feel so much healthier. But one thing, Dr. Agoli, that a lot of people come to you with is just unexplained pain. They just can't get any relief. Why can Progressive Medical Center's Pain Management Center help them?
First of all, we have to acknowledge that pain is for real, and you've got acute pain and chronic pain. Here's the problem. That acute pain turns to chronic, which is long-standing, and no one's getting to the root cause. There's several key diagnostic components that help us get to the root of what's causing this pain. Is it inflammation? Once we do a thorough evaluation to get the root cause, determine if it's structural or if it's a metabolic issue. And this way, we put an individualized program for pain management involving correcting the spine, using certain injections when necessary, and we get our patients out of pain quicker, and they stay out of pain because we teach them how to live their life well.
Don't let yourself live in pain any longer. Get a hold of Progressive Medical Center today at progressivemedicalcenter.com.
Progressive Medical, this is your life, live it well.
This is Bill Gruber with BizVid Communications, a Southern California video production leader. We've been honored to sponsor, produce, write, and host many of the fine programs on WS Radio over the years. so we understand how important the internet and your website exposure are. As video producers, we know the tricks and secrets to incorporate video to increase your search engine optimization and business success. Visit bizvidcommunications.com to see what we can do for you. BIZVID communications.com.
Talk to me.
Information, news, and entertainment on demand.
WSRadio.com.
Welcome to the Changing Stage, music gear talk from the manufacturers and musicians who define the biz. Here's your host, Florentino Buenaventura.
Yeah, this is the third segment of the Changing Stage radio show, powered by the mighty WS Radio Networks, the worldwide leader in internet talk radio, brought to you by Pitbull Audio at pitbullaudio.com. They just want you to play it loud there. That's what it's all about. It's just got to just getting your oomph and your whatever it is out. So, and of course, our good friends over at SIR Music Equipment Rental. They're over there in PB, actually they're worldwide. They're the number one provider for, backline equipment for all the big touring bands. I'm sure you've used SIR equipment before, Kevin.
All the time.
Yeah, exactly. Well,
Every week.
Yeah, anywhere you're going, that's what they do. They're out there. Every big concert, they're doing the Del Mar Fair. And, of course, our new Stars line at starsline.com. These folks are making a difference in children's lives when it comes down to music, which was what we're all about. So, Kevin, you've been talking to us about some fun stuff. You were just, I got to kind of go back to Jamie, man.
Okay.
I got to tell me that one Jamie story that he probably wouldn't want to have out, but it's safe enough to let out to the public.
Oh man, that's a difficult one. There's
you guys, as roommates, man, there's a lot.
Well, I'll just tell you this. This was the beginning of everybody's career.
Yeah.
So you deal with that struggle. That's the word, struggle. So the struggle, in retrospect, is can be funny. It wasn't funny at the time.
Yeah, no, not when you're going through it.
And so we struggled. We had a nice little apartment, but it was a month-to-month struggle to make it work.
Yeah.
And I remember leaving, and it can get kind of depressing. You're trying to make it in the business, and it's not there yet.
Yeah.
And so he was out there working hard.
Happen.
I was out there working hard. We going in different directions and sometimes doing stuff together. And I just remember leaving for San Diego. Sometimes I have to come back to San Diego to work because I was unknown there in L.A. And he was doing his thing. And I remember coming back once to the apartment. He was just sitting. We didn't have no furniture in the living room, so we was one chair. And so he was sitting in the chairs, and it was kind of a beat up look. Like, man, this is rough. Well, it's like several weeks after that he had gotten. He was auditioning.
Yeah,
and he got
before the
the
dawn,
call.
right?
He got the call.
Yeah.
But I just remember that day. I said, "Yeah, it is rough, isn't it? For everybody."
Yeah, that is.
But it's part of the struggle. And sometimes, some artists, they just talk about how they skip that step, the struggle, the clubs, the stuff that we do, which helps us to remain strong once we get there.
Yeah, that was always my thing. When I was a kid, I wanted to skip all that. And that was the one thing, I'm a big believer in the man upstairs. The Lord, he brought me back around actually at my age now. I'm actually going back and playing the clubs, which I never did, which is kind of a funny thing. I went straight from, playing in my little high school band to wanting to be a producer and learning how to be a producer, did that thing. So I definitely, I feel you. And I think it's really important because Michael Lemon Boddicker was on the show, and he was talking about how when he was starting out in, he moved from the Midwest out there, and he was sleeping on the floor, basically, milking cereal. And sometimes it was just cereal because he couldn't afford the milk, and living on that until he got the call. So.
Yeah, and I don't know. One thing that I enjoy is sitting down with the artists, whether it's like Gladys or the Pointer Sisters. I worked with Donny Osmond for 6 years.
Yeah, I see
and
the
just
pictures.
Listening to that story of where they come from.
Yeah,
and the
it's
struggle.
almost
And even if it's not a financial struggle, like in Donny Osmond's case, he came up with Michael Jackson. That they came up together. They used to give awards on the show together.
Yeah.
The cartoon.
They would
go
back and forth.
Thing, the whole families were
Yeah.
together. And there was a time that Quincy Jones entered into Michael's life, but and Donnie wanted that too.
Yeah,
actually, he was going for but Quincy said, Michael.
Yeah.
And there's that. It's not a financial struggle, but that's a struggle in terms of your career at that time. What are you going to do?
That could have made a different left or right turn.
What are you going to do? And he tells that story so well.
Donnie's had a pretty interesting career in that you were around there. Were you around the time when he did his kind of resurgence with, it was...
the 90s you're talking about, the big song.
Yeah, the Soldier song.
No, Soldier of Love.
Soldier of Love, yeah.
No, so he did Soldier of Love, and that he came back. But then later on, I don't know if you remember, Donnie and Marie got together, and they had a TV show, talk show.
Yeah.
I came in after that.
Oh, okay.
After the talk show, he decided to go out and do a world tour and rekindle whatever he was going to rekindle, you know. And so, which included overseas, where the Osmond brothers used to play overseas.
Yeah.
And it was a big deal over there.
Yeah.
And he hadn't been there in years, like 10, 15 years, and doing and he was telling me about, there was a financial investment because he had to pay for a show, bring a show, which is as part orchestra. I had about 5, 6, 7 keyboards, you know, including a grand piano on his stage. And so he's putting this show together after their talk show. And, it's an interesting story how I got that gig, but, you know.
Okay, you can't bring that up.
I just thought about it.
You can't bring that up in what I'm saying.
Well, I was the last person. I didn't know Donnie, right?
Okay, yeah.
And so it's always interesting how you get certain gigs at that level because a lot of musicians want that spot.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And he had his
dinner
group.
right now,
He had he knew a couple of people from the show that he did because they had a little music.
Yeah.
And everybody was out of Minneapolis. Some of Prince's guys used to work with, And they were looking for one more person. They need one more keyboard guy because there's 2 of us.
Yeah.
And so they called, from the story I heard, they called over to Janet Jackson because he's still, friends with the Jacksons.
Yeah.
And so they called over to Janet Jackson's camp, talked to the music director. And the music director said, call this guy Kevin because I know him.
Okay.
There was a misunderstanding but when I got called, there's about 7 phone calls before I was accepted into his group. But there was a misunderstanding. I think in the end, like 3 months in, the guys were saying, "You played with Janet Jackson, right?" I said, "No," because they thought that's what they thought, because that's where the reference came from.
Oh,
but we kind of laughed about that. I said, "Well, who are you?" I was on the road already. Some guy.
I'm that Kevin, not this Kevin. I'm that Kevin.
I was like, wow, that's interesting.
Hey man, things happen for reasons and purposes, brother. That's pretty awesome. So you know what? We've had a lot of good things that we've talked about. You've played with other people, but you are a producer and you are a songwriter. Let's talk a little bit about some of the artists that you've actually worked with in studio, because we've been on tour with you for the past 30, 40 minutes. Let's get into the studio. What was the first project that you got a chance to record?
The first successful thing through Warner Brothers, and there's a group from here called Big Mountain.
Yeah.
You know about Big Mountain. So that was my first.
Yeah, baby, I love you.
Yes, that was it. So after that single, the second single was a single called Sweet Sensual Love.
Okay, yeah.
And I produced that.
Oh, okay.
Under Warner Brothers. And it was big production, big budget, big production.
Yeah.
So that was my big thing at the time. I had been working with Jamie on his stuff, different demos, but that was the first one that made Billboard.
Yeah,
top,
awesome.
top 50, top 100.
You remember that one, right, Paul? The reggae version of Baby I Love Your Way?
Peter Frampton remake. Yeah. So I was in that group. I actually toured with them.
Oh, nice.
That was my first tour.
But they're
too.
local boys, right?
Yes.
Yeah. I still see them.
They still here.
Yeah, doing stuff. Yeah.
They're still here. And then my first tour was called the Reggae Sunsplash Tour.
Okay.
I did that for 2 years, all around the world, with Inner Circle, Still Pulse, Maxi Priest, all that. That was my first
big
experience. First going to Japan and all over the world.
Wow.
And so I got a chance to produce through that and write. So I was writing with Keno, the lead singer, and I did subsequent records and writing from that.
Okay.
And then from there, I started doing other stuff with different people. But a lot of the stuff I was doing in L.A., there's tons of artists and singers who are trying to get on.
Yeah.
And they need some professional music around what they're doing to be competitive.
Yeah.
And then in between time, I was working with, I remember earlier thing I was doing writing with the Emotions. Remember the Emotions?
Oh, remember? Yeah. Best of My Love.
Yeah, which is interesting. You mentioned the
Best
Crohn's
of
and
My-
colitis thing. Her daughter works closely with that because she has.
Oh.
Yeah, so she's kind of very active in that whole cause.
Wow. Well, hey, share
Great
it with
singer,
them.
too.
We're out there trying to make a difference with it.
Oh yeah, great singer too. So, and then everybody I worked with, like Donny Osmond, is on my iTunes he's singing on it on my song.
Oh, nice.
So I always ask the
Family
artists,
affair.
help me out, or do something with me. I did some stuff with Tina Marie production.
Yeah.
So the Pointer Sisters, just everybody.
Because you played with Tina Marie back early on.
3 years. 3 years with Tina Marie on the road. And like I told you, right before they let Rick James out of jail.
Yeah, you got
Yeah, well, at a certain point, so I was playing about 2 years, and then Rick got out, and so Rick, there was a major concert, everybody's excited, and Universal Amphitheater in L.A., and it was jam-packed because they knew Rick James was going to be on stage for the first time in a long time. He came on to do Fire and Desire.
Like I said, man, that's like my favorite jam from back
I had
then.
never played that song. He said, we're going to do this song tonight. And I remember doing that. I remember it was on the big screen. He would sing.
How'd you prepare for a song that you didn't know and you got to play it that night?
Yeah. They let me know ahead of time,
Okay.
and so I can go, I don't know if back then it was downloading, but it was, I had to live with the song for a minute.
Yeah.
And then, make sure I got my parts straight.
Yeah, I was wondering, I was like.
But by then I had a system
Okay.
of how I do that, in preparation, because being prepared is everything.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, because you can't be on there playing a different song and they're trying to sing Fire and Desire. That'll be your last concert.
Exactly. I was just joking with you earlier when you arrived. I was like, it's a different day now. Musicians, you got to show up early, and because Kevin got here, like 10:30, 10:15.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow, that's really usually trying to make sure that minute before that, are they going to be here? Oh, they were a minute before. So
well, I'll tell you what, I interface with a lot of the, in Hollywood, actors, actresses, producers of TV shows and movies, and I watch them when I work with them, and they're early.
Yeah, be on time, folks, or be early.
Major cats are there.
Yeah, be there. This has been the third segment of the Changing Stage Radio Show. We got one more, and you got to stay tuned because all the information is just too good, and the stories are awesome. My name is Florentino Buenaventura, and we are powered by the Mighty WS Radio Networks. We're here with Kevin Flournoy and an amazing career. We got one more segment. You got to stay tuned. Thanks, pitbullaudio.com, SR Music Equipment Rental, and Stars Align. We'll be right back.
Are you serious about your music? Are you ready to run with the big dogs? The experts at Pitbull Audio have the gear to get you into the game. From leading manufacturers like Mesa Boogie, Fender, Pioneer, and American Audio. To sound your best, you need the best. Pitbull Audio can deliver in rehearsal, on stage, and into the big time. Dropping beats, shredding guitar, or making the crowd roar. Whatever you dream, Pitbull Audio can help make it happen. We are Pitbull Audio. We want you to play it loud. PitbullAudio.com.
On the internet, your business's reputation can be unjustly destroyed in an instant. Don't wait for that to happen. Building and marketing your 5-star reputation can increase your business by as much as 19%. Take control of your reputation and have the 5-star reputation you deserve with Reputation Marketing Solutions by DSI Development. Become the go-to company by visiting 5starrepmarketing.com. The number 5starrepmarketing.com.
I raised $8,000 to build schools for South African children.
After realizing how many people go hungry in San Diego, I now volunteer at a food pantry.
I'm spending the next year doing volunteer projects across 3 countries and helping in ways they designate to be the most helpful.
The World Link program at the Joan B. Kroc Institute for Peace and Justice recognizes the potential of youth as agents of social change. Learn how you can help youth become a generation of leaders in action at peace.sandiego.edu.
You've heard me bragging about Progressive Medical Center and how they've helped me feel so much healthier. But one thing, Dr. Agoli, that a lot of people come to you with is just unexplained pain. They just can't get any relief. Why can Progressive Medical Center's Pain Management Center help them?
First of all, we have to acknowledge that pain is for real, and you've got acute pain and chronic pain. Here's the problem. That acute pain turns to chronic, which is long-standing, and no one's getting to the root cause. There's several key diagnostic components that help us get to the root of what's causing this pain. Is it inflammation? Once we do a thorough evaluation to get to the root cause, determine if it's structural or if it's a metabolic issue. And this way, we put an individualized program for pain management involving correcting the spine, using certain injections when necessary, and we get our patients out of pain quicker, and they stay out of pain because we teach them how to live their life well.
Don't let yourself live in pain any longer. Get a hold of Progressive Medical Center today at progressivemedicalcenter.com.
Progressive Medical, this is your life, live it well.
Which sandwich is healthy and tasty? Which sandwich can come on bread or in a bowl? Which sandwich comes 51 different ways, so it's always your way. A which sandwich. Stop into our shop in Hazard Center. We're upstairs from the Hazard Center Digiplex. Bring in your movie ticket. We will add a free drink and chips to your sandwich order. Or order online at which.com and we will have it ready and waiting. WHICH, which.com.
Information, news, and entertainment on demand.
Welcome to the Changing Stage, music gear talk from the manufacturers and musicians who define the biz. Here's your host, Florentino Buenaventura.
Here's the fourth segment of the Changing Stage radio show, powered by the mighty WS Radio Network, the worldwide leader in internet talk. Not powdered, but powered. my show producer, Paul, said, hey, are we powered, really? And always thanks to our sponsors who make this happen. So Stars Align, I want to kind of give a shout out to those folks because they're doing some incredible things with the youth and helping to bring music to their lives, not just from a creative side, but also talking about the business. And that's what we're going to really kind of get into in this segment, is about the business and some of the new things that you're doing, as well as some suggestions for some of the listeners. And of course, pitbullaudio.com, that get the gear, which is important. Yamaha is all, Kevin's all about Yamaha, been for a while. And then, SIR, who gets out there and provides all the gear for great touring players, as well as, they actually started off as providing studio equipment. When I first knew about them, they were bringing all the outboard gear into, one of the major rooms, because you couldn't have every bit of outboard gear. You couldn't have all the effects. Now it's all plugins. But back in the day, they'd bring all the gear into your studio that you would have. All your racks were provided by SIR. So I think, it's kind of a cool thing as you see the transitions. And you've seen some transitions in your life. You've roommated with Jamie Foxx. You
like that one.
You've produced. You've been a producer with and a songwriter for Quincy Jones, and you've had great records. You've been on tour. As you've seen this landscape kind of go, what are some of the things that you do differently now than you did back then?
Yeah, and we was talking about this in the break. I think the word is that independent. So before, like you were saying, back we used to do our music. We were going for the demo deal, the development deal. So we would get our music to a certain point so we can present it. And I can even go back further. I had my first record company meeting when I was 16.
Wow.
With actually the Holland Doja Holland.
Okay, yeah.
The writing group Motown. Yeah. And I have a nice picture of that too, with the afro and the whole bit.
Yeah, and it's kind of come full circle now with the new project you're doing, right?
Exactly. So in terms of the evolution, now back then, those A&R guys at the record companies would have acoustic pianos in their offices. Yeah. Everybody had a piano, so that you come in, and it wasn't about the CD or even the cassette tape. It's more about sit there and play the song.
Yeah.
Which would be a horrendous thing these days, but to be able to come. So I was, and then I had my singer.
Yeah.
And I remember in the picture, I played a couple of my songs, and there was a singer, and they would assess your talent.
Yeah.
That's where it started off.
Yeah, they put you right on the spot.
And then they might give you money and say, we're going to put you in the studio now. Here's some money. Go do some demos. And if they like the demo, now we're going to develop you. We're going to give you some more money for development
deals.
And you work your way up. Now we're going to give you a record deal.
Yeah.
Now, these days, is none of that.
No.
So it's about, you need to, say if you're a keyboard player, producer, writer, you need to bring your project to a certain level so you can make your presentation course online. And so, you're doing the best you can. And so, but you do have to have a business presence with that too. And so you have to study, whether it's the Facebook or whatever your presentation is, study that and get up in there.
Yeah.
And record and put it out there.
Yeah, exactly.
And then from there will be business opportunities and doors that will open based on where you're at the time in terms of your talent level. And as you get better, the doors that open and swing wider.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's a key. I book a few clubs here in town, as well as we have Radio Ban Diego, which we've been talking about, which is our sister show. I should mention that more often. We got another great show. If you haven't listened to it, you got to listen to it. Merging talent coming out of San Diego, as well as on tour, L.A. We're going to be talking. We might even have some name players on that show as well here in the very near future. But the point is that I get submissions from some of these bands, and I'm like, really, is this the professional presentation that you want to have? And then we get those ones where like, you guys are awesome, and your packaging is amazing, and you did it all yourself.
That's what I find is I listen to people on Facebook, and that's what's missing. Back in the day, there was quality control through the record companies.
Yeah.
Now people put anything out there, and sometimes it's like, okay, you might want to rethink that before you put that out there like that.
Exactly, because once you put it out there, it's out there.
It's out there. Yeah, it's really out there.
They ain't pulling that back.
There's pros and cons, and that's one of the cons is that there's no quality control.
Yeah, I think so. When it's so democratic, and also there's so much.
But you
out
don't,
there,
and then you don't. But the pros, you don't have that filter. Sometimes record companies, the people making the decisions, don't really know.
Yeah, that's true.
And so sometimes people whether it's Bruno Mars, you're going around for like 2 or 3 years with the tape and saying, "Will somebody let me on?"
Yeah.
And that's a common story.
Yeah.
Or when you get on, you do your record, and somebody will put it on the shelf because they don't really know.
Yeah.
And now you can go straight to the public.
Yeah.
So you can do that song that you was going to do, and the public decides. When they decide, you got the million views, then the company's like, okay, okay, we're going to have to deal with you now.
Yeah. Well, we had Ken Cragen on about a month ago, and Ken Cragen was, you mentioned Lionel Richie was Lionel's manager during that time, and huge name in the business, did We Are the World and, Hands Across America, kind of altruistic. And one of the things he said, because I've respected him, Quincy Jones, Ken Cragen for management, all these iconic players, he said that today's not the day to get a major label deal. Because they want the whole 360 packaging. They try to own you, which makes sense because they're not making money on the actual, album sales anymore. They have to do it through other means, and it's important and to have their business side of things going on. So with that said, you've got some artists. Let's do some plugs for some of the artists you're working with that have that going on. Who are some of the groups and artists that you're working with?
Are you referring to the local ones, or
just the ones that you're producing right now that you are helping to take to the next level?
Yeah, so you, as you know, I'm working with the local artist Rebecca J.
Yeah.
And you're about to hear some high-end pop production on that this summer.
Yeah.
And it's a special project I call On a Very Special Note. And that project has a long history. I've been working on it for a couple of years.
So she got signed to Pacific Records?
Yes, recently.
Yeah.
Yes. And so you'll be hearing some different music from that avenue. This is my, what they call a dream project.
Okay.
The dream project, I define it as that project that intersects from all the desires and hopes and dreams that you've had over years, and finally you're there doing that project that you want to do.
Yeah.
Doing all the projects that you are doing for experience as opposed to doing that.
Yeah.
All the years of playing with the different artists and listening to different music, playing different music, it comes into this particular project.
Yeah.
So it's a celebrity CD project, so I'm enlisting the help of different celebrities, like Donny Osmond's already sang one for me.
Okay.
Next week, I'm recording Amanda Cole on one of my big pop numbers, and she's from En Vogue, one of the singers from En Vogue.
Yeah.
They had different configurations. It was after, they had 4, and they went to 3, and she was in there at that time.
Okay.
So incredible. You can check her out on she's got some incredible stuff going on.
How can they check that out?
On Facebook
On Facebook.
on YouTube. Like millions of views and stuff. And so I'm looking forward to that. So she's singing one song. So it's different people singing. It's in the tradition of Quincy Jones used to do that. His records, and he have different artists.
Yeah, and you've got Lamont Dozier as well.
I'm doing Lamont Dozier. We're starting
So
that next week.
That's your
He's going to be
back.
on it. Yeah, and like I said, Rebecca. So Lamont's record, it's going to be interesting because the whole Motown is supporting his situation. And so that's exciting. We just did a show up in L.A. at Sheila E's new spot called the E Spot.
E Spot, yeah.
We just did a show about 2 weeks ago.
Oh, that is awesome.
And it's always when this iconic Motown writers, singers, they're all in the audience.
Yeah.
And so it's just an historical adventure with him. And he has you'll be hearing from him.
Awesome,
he has big plans. He's coming out here to Mary Mesa Monday.
We should talk about doing another. We might let's talk after this because that'd be fun to have him on the show.
Oh yeah.
Like that.
Yeah.
And then he maybe even looking at a Ban Diego, so that might be really cool. You know, Kevin, it's never enough time on this show. Did I tell you it's going to go quick?
Yeah,
man?
you did. You're right, and you were right.
It seems like an hour and you
was
would
great.
not have enough to talk about. We have so much more. This has been the Changing Stage radio show with the incredible Kevin Flournoy. You guys got to take a look at his stuff. Go to Facebook, look him up. Powered by WS Radio Networks, the worldwide leader in internet talk, and brought to you by pitbullaudio.com, SIR Music Equipment Rental, and Stars Align. See you next week.
Are you serious about your music? Are you ready to run with the big dogs? The experts at Pitbull Audio have the gear to get you into the game. From leading manufacturers like Mesa Boogie, Fender, Pioneer, and American Audio. To sound your best, you need the best. Pitbull Audio can deliver in rehearsal, on stage, and into the big time. Dropping beats, shredding guitar, or making the crowd roar. Whatever you dream, Pitbull Audio can help make it happen. We are Pitbull Audio. We want you to play it loud. PitbullAudio.com.
Progressive Medical.
Hey, this is Heidi Rue, and you know, Progressive Medical Center has literally changed my life and my health, but I'm not the only one. Adele suffered from bone deterioration, bone overgrowth, profound muscle discomfort, physical exhaustion, and mental fog. In fact, the bone deterioration becomes so serious that she had to have back surgery. Well, after the surgery, she still didn't feel well, and so that's when she heard about Progressive Medical Center. Progressive Medical Center discovered that her adrenals weren't working properly, her hormones were out of whack, and the drugs she had been taking were doing more harm than good. Adele came into Progressive Medical Center in a walker, physically and mentally exhausted. But now she's a world traveler. She hikes and walks several miles a day, and it's all thanks to Progressive Medical Center. 770-676-6000. 770-676-6000.
Progressive Medical. This is your life. Live it well.
Take a break from politics. Tune in and learn something. WS Radio shows are worth your time and are filled with tips and advice. Add us to your lunch routine, and we'll give you a meal for your mind.
Do you want to be a professional coach? Are you in business trying to make a real difference with people you manage or work with? Have you started a coaching practice that isn't quite getting off the ground? Get the skills you need to be a successful coach today with the Coaches Training Program from Accomplishment Coaching. The Coaches Training Program will show you how to help others focus and be more fulfilled. Whether you want to improve your company's bottom line or create a thriving coaching practice, Accomplishment Coaching can give you the distinctions and practices you need to coach others effectively today. Accomplishment Coaching has spent 6 years developing a cutting-edge coaches training program that will have you ready to coach people professionally in just 12 months, and you don't have to take time off work to do it. To find out more about the Coaches Training Program, just call 1-888-548-6813. That's 1-888-548-6813.
Hi, this is Rob Barnett, VinVillage.com, where wine lovers connect. Be sure to tune in weekly to Vin Village Radio for exclusive, in-depth interviews with the who's who in wine and food.